Hello, my name is Bradley, and welcome to Bradley's Art and Stuff. For our first episode, we're going to be having a segment called Game Design Talk, where we go over the first steps to becoming a game designer and asking the question of what it takes to go from a gamer to game designer. At first glance, you might be thinking to yourself, hey, I'm a gamer, I've been playing it my whole life. I could probably be a designer. And I hate to burst your bubble, but it's very important for me to say this. Just because you're a gamer does not make you a game designer. It's easy to assume that we understand a lot of how games work because we play them so much. We instantly assume that we know problems that the developers are somehow missing. We somehow, as gamers, know everything there is to know about this game. And while it is true, you can learn from playing games. The bottom line is you're only seeing what the developers want you to see. If you master a game, usually that's the intent of the game. The developers have made the game in a way where it can be mastered by the player. You see, as a game designer, you don't play games. You analyze it, you break them down. We'll get more into what it takes to be a game designer later on in another episode, but the point here is that gamers and game designers are two completely different things. But the good news is anyone can become a game designer. It's just very important to state that a game designer and a gamer are two completely different worlds. And so if you're really serious about becoming a game designer, it's important to try to forget as much as you know and try to learn new concepts and new ideas and take the first steps to actually becoming a game designer. Now, let's talk about how your perspective will change as you become a game designer. Now, this might be a deal breaker for some of you, but as soon as you start learning about game design, you will no longer see them as games. They will definitely break the illusion of games. I often find myself breaking down how games work and all the different components and all the different steps that go into making a game, rather than just sitting down and enjoying the experience. Of course, you can still enjoy games, but it will be a different experience now because you will know all the work that goes into all of these games. If this is something you don't really want ruined and this experience of being a gamer is still very true to you, then that's okay. Maybe being a game designer isn't the path for you. However, it helps if you think of it like this. When you were a kid, you used to play games that were made by other developers, and those games give you some amazing memories and experiences. Now that you're older, it's time to return that favor to the younger generation. It's almost like a full circle cycle of life type of way, where you want to return that same experience to someone else. And so that's really what it means to be a game designer, creating the experiences that you felt and giving them to someone else. Another thing that will change as you take your first steps towards becoming a game designer is your priorities. Suddenly, 5-hour gaming sessions seem like a waste of time. Suddenly, you could be spending those 5 hours developing and making your own game to share to the world. And you'll soon quickly realize that maybe you'd rather be making games than playing them. The thing about the gaming industry is that it's extremely competitive. Every company out there is trying to get as many players as they can to their game. And now that you're a game designer, your mission is the same. You're trying to get as many people as you can to play your game so that your company and your game grow. Now, it's important to clarify, you can still enjoy games. You can still play them, you can still have fun with them, and you can still play other companies' games. There's no problem with that. But there will be a voice at the back of your head constantly nagging you, telling you, hey, maybe you could be making a game instead of playing it. Video games will now be your career. Let that sink in for a second. Suddenly, gaming won't just be a fun pastime at the end of the long day. Suddenly, gaming is your long day. Your career, your everyday job will include and revolve around video games. And that's something that you need to be aware of before going into this industry. And I'm gonna be blunt with you. Making games is stressful. There's a lot of components that go into making a video game and a lot of different areas that, especially if you're an indie company, you have to cover all the areas by yourself or with a really small team. Now, if this idea of long hours and working a lot on this stressful game excites you, then hey, you might be a game designer. You see, the thing is, creating a video game is extremely rewarding. At the end of the day, when you release your project to the world and everybody sees what you've created, it's such an amazing feeling and such a sense of accomplishment that it makes all the hard work worth it. Not only that, now that you're a game designer, you're in the industry. You can now have creative control over decisions on games and mechanics. Stuff that as a gamer you would have wanted to see in a game. Well, guess what? Now you can be the one to create those ideas and those gameplays and those concepts because you are now the game designer. And as you keep growing as a game designer, you will begin to understand and appreciate games a lot more. How do you know you're a game designer? How do you know that this is what you want as a career? Well, if after everything I said, all the negative stuff I've said about game design, the constant stress, the inability to experience games as much as you used to, if all those negative stuff outweigh the idea of wanting to create games and pursuing your passion, then maybe you are a game designer. If you love doing this, even though it's hard work, and you're truly passionate about it, then yeah, maybe you are going on the right path, and maybe you should go from gamer to game designer. When I first started my game design journey, I quickly realized how much hard work this was. But then I asked myself, do I love this? And the answer was really quick, and it was yes, I do. And I instantly just knew it inside of me that this was my passion. This is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so when you first begin your journey on game design, ask yourself that same question. Do I love this? Do I love this hard work? Do I love this stress? Do I love it because it makes me happy because I get to create something beautiful and amazing and original? Ask yourself these questions and see if this is your passion and if this is the career you want to take. Finally, the beauty of game design is that anyone, and I repeat, anyone can be a game designer. You don't just have to be a gamer. If you're interested in coding, in art, in music, in lighting, and there's a lot of careers within the industry, and almost anybody, if you're willing to put the effort, can become a game designer. And most importantly, if you are willing to learn, then you have the capability of becoming a great game designer. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye-bye.